Hello everyone, this is NPC's Economics. This is the Census 2023 population projection. It looks innocuous, yeah? And this is the Congressional Budget Office's 2024 population projection. You can see that the CBO is projecting a substantially higher population than the Census Bureau, 12 million in 2030, 19 million in 2050, and 36 million in 2090. The U.S. Census Bureau's most recent population projection predicts a population decline in the U.S. starting around 2080. On the other hand, although the CBO also projects a slowing population growth, it does not predict a population decline at any point in the 21st century. But what really caught my attention is this. This is the year-over-year population growth. What is going on here? Why is there such a huge delta for 2024 and the next few years? But before that, let's back up and look at the previous CBO projection from 2023. Comparing the two CBO projections, the old one projected a lower population than the new one throughout the entire timeline until 2090, when the two lines finally converge. Unlike the new one, the old one's population growth did not have that weird kink from 2024 to 2027, and the direction was much more in line with the census's projected growth. Looking at CBO's website, it says upward revisions to net immigration from 2024 to 2026, which boosts the size and growth of the population ages 25 to 54 in particular, account for most of that difference. Some of you can probably tell where I'm going with this. The Census Bureau projection does not take the recent surge in immigration into account, whereas the CBO projection does. Two government agencies, two population projections. Which one is closer to the truth? I will admit that prior to the pandemic, I did not think to scrutinize the Census Bureau's forecast models. But the pandemic did throw a wrench not just on the economy, but also to the quality of data collection. In my professional work, I use census data almost every day. But after doing some digging, I would like to raise a few points. First, the U.S. Census's 2023 national population projections for the United States are the first set of projections to incorporate the results of the 2020 census. But do you remember what happened in 2020? Yep, the world was shutting down due to the pandemic, just when the 2020 census got underway. I remember around that time, there were a lot of discussions about and concerns over its accuracy and quality of the data collected. According to the Pew Research Center, the 2020 census overcounted household populations in 8 states while undercounting household populations in 6 others. The Census Bureau's website also states that the projection series uses the official estimates of the resident population on July 1st, 2022 as the base for projecting the U.S. population from 2023 to 2100. If a previous estimate is off, then the resulting projections will also be off. Couple that with the 2020 decennial census, in which the undercounting and overcounting issues are known, I think it is valid to question the accuracy and precision of these projections. Second, the U.S. Census has its unique way of estimating net international migration. Digging through its methodology, assumptions, and inputs for the population projections, a few things caught my attention. Net migration is immigration minus emigration. On foreign-born immigration, the census projections of foreign-born immigration were based on rates of immigration from sending countries. This approach shifts the perspective from the receiving nation to the source countries by incorporating information on the trends in population in sending countries. Although I don't think one way is necessarily superior to the other, I do think the source country's approach is perhaps less straightforward. What if some migrants just don't make it to the point of destination? What if the official stated point of destination is not the actual final point of destination? But as I said, I'm not arguing in favor or against a particular approach. Another thing I think is worth highlighting is that the census employs mathematical models to project immigration rates from sending countries to the United States and from the United States to abroad. I don't really have much to say about these models. I haven't necessarily looked that much into them, and that's besides the point of this video anyway. Meanwhile, the Congressional Budget Office uses data from the Social Security Administration to forecast net international migration. But that still doesn't explain the discrepancy, as undocumented immigrants cannot obtain a Social Security number or card. Instead, what CBO did is to estimate net international migration based on the agency's assessment of recent trends in immigration. And this isn't something you can just easily incorporate into a math model per se. And the results? Well, the census projection of net international migration is consistently lower than both of the CBO's projections. But the CBO's 2023 projection was largely in line with the census, except with a larger y-intercept. The interesting thing again is the upward revision from the 2024 projections for the next few years. But why does this matter? Well, it matters because the United States is a country of immigrants. As birth rates fall, which I talked about in the previous video, immigration will contribute to the bulk of the future population growth. They also buoy the falling birth rate somewhat, as immigrants tend to have a higher fertility rates than non-immigrants. Finally, they are an important part of the economic engine. Just like everyone else, they consume, they form households, they contribute to the economy, they shape the economy and the policies. As the most authoritative information on the country's population and components of change, it is a big deal that the Census Bureau gets its estimates right. Who knows what the actual population is? Maybe it is closer to the CBO's estimates. Maybe it is closer to the census estimates. Or maybe it is somewhere in the middle. So what do you think? If you like this video, please subscribe for more videos like this one. And let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Bye!